what I want to do this morning, Maggie and I love to go to the Art Museum up in Raleigh. We've gone several times. And when we go to the Art Museum together, how many have been to the Art Museum in Raleigh? Okay. There's some great stuff and there's some weird stuff. And so when you walk into the Art Museum, you have this big foyer there, where the receptionist desk is. And then you go into a series of rooms. You go to this room. I wrote it down. We go into the room with the really old paintings, and I remember the last time we went, I was saying, hey, look how the canvas is cracked. All millions of cracks because it's so old and it becomes part of the picture. And I just remember, I didn't care about the painting so much as the little cracks and how beautiful the cracks all through the canvas were. We go into the contemporary art room. We go into the paintings that have Andrew Wyeth. I don't know if I'm saying Wyeth or Waith, but I love his paintings that are there. We went in, last time we went, I think there was an ancient African art section, weird stuff, and then there's the modern art that you're like, is that new? But so today we're going to visit the Deacon Museum. Isn't that exciting? Okay, so I'm your tour guide. Maggie and I, we don't use the tour guide, but I see groups of people walking around with tour guides who tell them all these things and use big words. I'm working on 2 big words, just as part of our thing. So we're going, I'm the kind of tour guide, I really want you to ask questions or say, did you know this about that? So I kind of steamroll and roll through it, but raise your hand if you want to add something. Okay. The first room we're in is the overseers and deacon room. Someone please read 1 Timothy 3, 1 through 16. 1 Timothy 3, 1 through 16. Okay, thanks.
If I run out of spit, somebody else will. This saying is trustworthy. If anyone aspires to be an overseer, he desires a noble work. An overseer, therefore, must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, self-controlled, sensible, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not an excessive drinker, not a bully, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not greedy. He must manage his own household competently and have his children under control with all dignity. If anyone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he take care of God's church? He must not be a new convert, or he might become conceited and incur the same condemnation as the devil. Furthermore, he must have a good reputation among outsiders, so that he does not fall into disgrace and the devil's trap.
And here's the deacon part.
Deacons, likewise, should be worthy of respect, not hypocritical, not drinking a lot of wine, not greedy for money, holding the mystery of the faith with a clear conscience. They must also be tested first. If they prove blameless, then they can serve as deacons. Wives, too, must be worthy of respect, not slanderers, self-controlled, faithful in everything. Deacons are to be husbands of one wife, managing their children and their own households competently. For those who have served well as deacons acquire a good standing for themselves and great boldness in the faith that is in Christ Jesus. I write these things to you, hoping to come to you soon. But if I should be delayed, I have written so that you will know how people ought to conduct themselves in God's household, which is the church of the living God, the pillar and foundation of the truth. And most certainly, the mystery of godliness is great.
That's good enough. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Kim. Okay, that we have just seen a beautiful portrait of a deacon and an overseer, right? This is you can just imagine in our Museum of Deacons, there's the portrait and what they are and what they are not. Deacon, as I bet we all know this, deacon comes from this Greek word diakonos, I believe is how you say it. It means servant, waiting man, which I think is sort of like waiter, maybe similar. Waiting man, a minister, or a messenger. One thing that people often question is the role of deaconesses. If you've heard there's in Romans 16, 1 and 2. Let me read that to you. It's just about Phoebe. I knew a sweet old lady named Phoebe, and I used to play piano at the nursing home, and she'd come in and just sit and listen. So when I see the name Phoebe, I think about sweet Phoebe who used to love hearing music. Let's see. I commend to you our sister Phoebe, a servant of the church in Cenchrea. I ask you to receive her in the Lord in a way worthy of the saints, and give her any help she may need from you. For she has been a great help to many people, including me. Now this version of the Bible says, I commend you our sister Phoebe, a servant. Some Bibles, I think maybe the King James says a deaconess. And that's the term in the New Testament of the deaconess. I don't know if they actually had ordinations for ladies to be deacons at that time. Actually, I'm using one of my two big words. Appellation, not Appalachian. Appellation is a deaconess. May have been an appellation for, or a term meaning the deacon's wife. So Phoebe might have been the wife of a deacon. That's just interesting. A little aside there. But thinking about Phoebe reminds me of all the women in the New Testament, especially in the Gospels, who served, who provided for Jesus and the disciples. They would go to this house to have a meal, and you know, even it spoke in places about the ladies who care for their needs. And after the resurrection, you know, it was a couple of the ladies who came to anoint the body, and they brought the spices and everything with them. But they were the first ones to hear that Jesus had risen from the dead. But that's a kind of a cool thing. But so that we're now leaving the room of the overseers and deacons, and we're entering one of those rooms, kind of like the African art room, has some old stuff in it. This is the Levites' room. People, some experts think that the role of deacon was actually foreshadowed in the Old Testament by the Levites. You know, Aaron's family was appointed to minister before the Lord. And that's sort of elderly and you know, but some of the duties that they had within that group were very much like deacon duties. You know, they appointed some guys to carry the tent, you know, and some guys to build some amazing things, you know, really deacony stuff. So it's just interesting in this room with some really old artifacts and pictures. We can. It's good to remember that the beautiful role of deacon may have been foreshadowed in the Old Testament. Let me read to you Exodus, from Exodus chapter 18. Melody, how are we doing on time? Or anyone? Okay, great. I had this thing put together last night. I thought, man, this is enough for 2 Sundays. And I went over it this morning in 5 minutes. So, so it's somewhere in between 5 minutes and forever.